Hi, this is Bob Bergen, and you're listening to E to the E to the E to TV Confidential, folks.
Roberts with a reminder that actress, director, and author Gabrielle Stone will join us at the top of the hour. Be able to stay tuned for that. In the meantime, Greg Ehrbar is with us for another look at recently released DVD and streaming titles that we think you'll find of interest. Greg Ehrbar, two-time Grammy-nominated, multiple Addy Award-winning writer for television, animation, advertising, and publishing for Disney, Warner Brothers, and Universal. Greg Ehrbar also co-authored Mousetracks, the story of Walt Disney Records, along with our friend Tim Hollis. You can enjoy Greg's animation spin column twice a month at cartoonresearch.com. What do you have for us tonight?
Two Hanna-Barbera cartoon series from Saturday morning. One that is very fondly remembered and has a bit of a following even to this day, and I think should be revived. I could think of all kinds of cool ways to revive both of these series within the series, because it's actually two cartoons in one.
Okay.
And then another series that is largely forgotten, but I think is quite wonderful. The first one is Frankenstein Jr. and the Impossibles.
I vaguely remember that because I think I would have been only 2 years old when it originally aired, but NBC brought it back 10 years later. In 1976, they canceled their 10 o'clock Saturday morning show, like after, I don't remember what it was, but it was so bad, they yanked it after like 4 weeks. And then like 1 month later, Monster Squad's lead out was Space Ghost! And Frankenstein Jr.
That was the middle cartoon.
Yeah, from 1966, even though it was on in 1976. It was a rare example of a Saturday morning show that had a second life in Saturday morning 10 years later.
Yes, and there was much rejoicing in my house because I loved both of those cartoons.
Now, as I recall, Frankenstein Jr. was sort of a Beatles knockoff because it was a rock band, was it not?
Well, the Impossibles was.
The Impossibles was.
The Impossibles was a mop-top rock band, but they were also superheroes as their alter egos.
So you had both the Beatles mania and the superheroes mania, both of which were very, I guess today we would call them tropes or memes. Tropes
Yes.
In the 1960s.
Or today,
mid-60s.
in corporate America, we call them IP, intellectual property.
That is true.
Or content.
Yes.
Or a portfolio.
All of which would go in your portfolio.
Yes, it would.
If you're pitching these things today.
It was a load of fun. And it was kind of funny also because they were supposed to be this groovy teenage group. But like the Beatles cartoon that was also on, many of the same people doing the voices. These middle-aged guys doing the voices. Paul Frees, Hal Smith, Dawes Butler. It was Hal Smith, Don Messick. There was Coil Man. There was Fluid Man.
This sounds like the Super Six.
Well, they get confused. No,
I get confused.
Well, you have the Mighty Heroes, too, because you had Rope Man and you had Cuckoo Man. They all blurred together. This was Hal Smith.
Super
was
Six.
Super Six. Multi-Man was Don Messick.
Multi-Man?
Yeah, because he could be multiple things.
Oh.
He could, duplicate himself.
Why don't I call him Every Man?
Well, because then he'd just be ordinary.
That's very good, Greg.
And then Paul Frees was Fluid Man.
So he turned himself into water.
Like the Wonder Twin guy.
Oh, okay. I was thinking, Fluid, he could be versatile, so he would be Versatile Man.
That's true. or he could speak well.
Yes. No, that would be fluent.
Yeah.
That would be fluent.
Yeah. Or if he used big words, it'd be florid man.
Okay, so we have
these
fluid man
voiced by middle-aged men
as opposed to multi-man as opposed to multi-vitaman.
Right. Or King Vitamin. Have breakfast with the king. Or pour milk on your King Vitamin.
Yes. Okay, so fluid man, multi-man.
And coil man.
Coil man. C-O-I-L as opposed to C-Y-L-E.
Or C-O-Y-L. Yeah. Eddie Coyle. Friends of Eddie Coyle.
Or Paul Robert Coyle.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so Coil Man.
Coil Man, and the theme was so great because you had Paul Frees doing this countdown. Hanna-Barbera could just pull you in with those theme songs. And I loved how, and not every episode has it on there, but I loved how it said Hanna-Barbera Presents at the beginning. I loved when they would do that. And he did this countdown, and then he said, Coil Man, Fluid Man. It was just so, you just like, impossibles.
I'm going to look this up.
It was just fun. It was just fun. So you had two of those, and each one of them was a groovy song, and they'd be playing in some location, and then some Batman-ish kind of outlandish villain would do something. It was usually stealing jewelry.
Yeah.
They're always trying money and jewelry. For some reason, they wanted. I don't know what they'd spend it on.
It just goes to show, no matter how far out the location, the base needs of criminality remain the same.
They wanted stuff.
Yeah.
And then there'd be, my jewels, and then they turn into their things.
But it was very convenient that the crime would break out where they were touring.
Yeah, and what was cool about the Impossibles also, as a music enthusiast and a Hanna-Barbera records collector, is that the singers for the Impossibles were what was in 1965-66 called the Hanna-Barbera Singers. And they performed on a lot of cartoons in the mid-60s, the way outs on the flip. We're going way out, way out. A lot of times when you heard these male singers, Secret Squirrel, you were hearing basically the same guys. One of the singers was Ron Hicklin.
Okay.
And another, I believe, was Al Capps. There's a few I can guess on, but I know those two were a couple of them. And they sang on the Hanna-Barbera records of 65 and 66. They also sang on quite a few Disney records. And Ron Hicklin would put together various vocal groups, and he was responsible for some of the most famous singing group theme songs that you've heard. The theme from MASH, Love American Style, Happy Days. Gosh, I mean, you can go onto YouTube, type in Ron Hicklin Singers, and you'll see a video that has a montage of all of their things. It goes on and on and on. Commercials, theme songs, records, backup. The Ron Hicklin Singers went under a lot of different names, but the Way Outs and the Impossibles were just a few of the things they did. The Impossibles were going to have an album, but the Hanna-Barbera label folded before that could happen.
Which made it impossible.
It was impossible to release.
Yes.
But when you heard the songs on the show, you heard bits and pieces, but you heard songs that were going to be released. Hanna-Barbera...
So they should have changed the group to the Potentials.
Yes, or the Probables.
Or
the Discontinueds.
Yes, the Remainders.
But it would have been interesting to have that happen.
Bottom Remainders.
Because the following year we had the Archie show, and look what happened. The Impossibles was a year before.
Yeah.
And had that album come out, it might have done well.
Yeah, especially if they had someone like Don Kirshner behind it.
Well, and they didn't. See, that was the thing, is that Hanna-Barbera Records didn't have the distribution. Don Kirshner knew how to promote.
He was with Cold Gems, which was the record company offshoot imprint of Screen Gems. Correct?
And RCA.
And RCA.
Yeah, and that had a lot to do with it, too, is that they were an independent label, and they couldn't get their records everywhere.
I wasn't aware that Hanna-Barbera, being serious, I wasn't aware that Hanna-Barbera's had a record company.
From 65 to 67.
Oh, well, that's not very long.
Yeah, but they were very innovative records and very cool and groovy as could be.
We should do a thing on that.
Oh, I would love to do that.
Yeah.
I would love to do that.
Well, that's your bailiwick, because you write about records for Animation Spin.
And I've written about quite a few of them.
Oh, we should do a thing on that.
We should.
Yeah.
We should.
Ties in with our shows and our theme. And
it does.
And
it's symbiotic.
Yes, it is. And people will be interested in that, because we have a lot of collectors in our audience.
Yeah, and what I find is that the Hanna-Barbera records here in California, they're a little easier to find because I think they were here. So they could distribute them a little easier here, but elsewhere in the country, not quite so easy. But you can still find them on eBay. They're not impossible to find. But the Impossibles are
impossible to find. Now, Frankenstein Jr. was the middle. That's pretty good. Frankenstein Jr. is the middle segment, but he's the title. He's above the title.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
He had a good agent.
Yes, he did.
Okay, so tell us about the Frankenstein Jr. show.
Well, that was the voice of Ted Cassidy from the Addams Family.
Hello, Buzz. What do you want me to do, Buzz?
You rang.
He did a lot of Hanna-Barbera voices.
Yes.
He was also in the New Adventures of Huck Finn, which we should talk about someday.
One of these days.
And that was about a genius boy inventor, voice of Dick Beals, Speedy Alka-Seltzer, a lot of other things. And he created this giant, it's sort of like Johnny Sacco and his flying robot or Gigantor, only cuter and more Hanna-Barbera-ized. But it's the same basic idea. They live in a place called Civic City, which you don't get to see too much of. I'd like to see more of it on the show. They live in a futuristic city, and occasionally you'll see that they don't drive...
Did you say the name of it was called City?
Civic.
Oh, Civic City.
Civic City, sorry. Civic City.
Civic City.
It's a very civic city.
Okay, Civic City.
And Professor Conroy is the dad, and Buzz is the son. And Dad has no problem with his son having the giant robot. And there are, again, major criminals from all over the world, the equivalent of James Bond type criminals and outer space villains and planets that are going to collide.
Well, no
with
wonder
Earth.
why Dad didn't mind, because
No.
Frankenstein Jr. was earning his keep because he was fighting crime.
It's sort of this Johnny Quest thing. There are even recurring villains that come back. You know, it's him again, Buzz. Gonna just, So that's the sort of thing. There was a lot there.
That is a trope of the life of a superhero, because there are adversaries that come back like a boomerang.
It's true.
I mean, Batman had that all the time, and as did Superman. And
yeah, like Mr. Mixaplex.
yes, that's very good. I could never say that.
I hope I said it.
I-
Mr. Multiplex.
I think you got it right the first time.
So that's a great one. And that's on Warner DVD, the complete series. And because it's a regular Warner, not a Warner archive, but a regular Warner, there are a few little extras with some people talking about why it's a wonderful show and why they liked it. People in the comic book business and animation people and things like that. So there are a couple of little short extras on there that are quite nice.
And we've talked about this before. The great thing about those documentaries is that it shows why, even though Frankenstein Jr. and The Impossibles only ran for maybe 1 year, 2 years if you consider the Frankenstein Jr. came back 10 years later as part of the Space Ghost shows. But they may not have had long runs in and of themselves, but the fact that they made an impression on so many people who work in the animation industry today, or the comic book fantasy industry today, and the fact that these people will participate in documentaries such as the one that's featured in the Frankenstein Jr. and the Impossibles package, that serves as the reminder why these shows are important.
Yes.
Greg Ehrbar is with us as we take a look at the recently released DVD package of Frankenstein Jr. and The Impossibles, the Hanna-Barbera cartoon series that originally aired in 1966. Greg has another Hanna-Barbera title that we'll talk about when we continue our DVD report at the end of our second hour. We hope you'll stay tuned for that. In the meantime, we'll take a quick time out. Then Gabrielle Stone will join us when we come back for hour number 2 of TV Confidential. Stay with us.
Become an advertiser or underwriter of TV Confidential and let our brand help promote your brand. To find out more, go to televisionconfidential.com/advertise.
If you haven't been listening to TV Confidential, this is who you're missing.
Michelle Nichols,
Adrienne Barbeau,
Leonard Maltin,
Joyce Bulifant,
Peter Onorati,
Judy Norton,
Robert Wagner, Robert Hooks,
Lee Purcell, Julie Bass,
Rhonda Shear,
Michelle Lee, Jacqueline Smith,
Lou Antonio,
Shirley Jones,
And many, many more of your favorite celebrities and people behind the scenes in the world of television. That's TV Confidential, every week on this station
and every day online at televisionconfidential.com.
Become a TV Confidential confidant and receive unlimited access to the last 5 years of TV Confidential, plus other members-only content. To find out more, go to televisionconfidential.com and click Become a Confidant. Enter the coupon code CONFIDENTIAL when you sign up, and you'll receive $5 off your first month's membership. For more information, go to televisionconfidential.com and click Become a Confidant.
You can listen to this show all over again as a podcast on iTunes, Spreaker, TuneIn, Apple Podcast, and wherever podcasts are found. Best of all, it's free. To subscribe to the TV Confidential podcast, go to the homepage at televisionconfidential.com and click Subscribe Now.
Hi, my name is Lily. My mom and dad used to fight about money all the time. Then one day, I heard them talking about this guy, some uncle I never knew, called Uncle Sam. Well, they say this Uncle Sam guy wanted them to pay him like $1 gazillion, and they didn't have $1 gazillion. So they called this company they heard on the radio called the Tax Doctor. And the Tax Doctor worked with Uncle Sam's people. I think they're called the IRS. And they were able to work it out so my mom and dad didn't have to pay Uncle Sam very much money at all. So now Mom and Dad are happy, and I'm happy too. Thanks, Tax Doctor.
If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS or state, call now and pay less.
800-649-0142. 800-649-0142. That's 800-649-0142.
Alexa users, you can now listen to TV Confidential on your smart speaker by just saying, "Alexa, play TV Confidential." Enabling our Alexa skill is easy. To find out how, go to televisionconfidential.com/Alexa. This portion of TV Confidential is brought to us by our friends at Front Porch Realty Group, the community of realtors in the Northern Bay Area of California that is committed to finding the solution that is best for their clients. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or looking to sell or lease your property in Northern California, call 415-886-7411 or visit frontporchrealtygroup.com for more information on how they can help you.